Hello friends again. Today I will show you a new story about the haunting of the Forgotten Palace. In the heart of a small, forgotten village nestled between the steep cliffs and dense forests, there stood an ancient, crumbling mansion. It was a place shrouded in mystery, a relic of a bygone era that had once thrived but was now consumed by decay. The villagers spoke of strange happenings within its walls, of dreadful sights glimpsed through the dusty windows that lined its facade. There was an unspoken rule among the townsfolk: no one entered the mansion after dark. Yet, curiosity is a powerful force, especially for a young soul yearning for adventure. Thomas was no ordinary boy. Fascinated by the tales of the mansion, he often stood at its rusted gates, peering through the overgrown brush that obscured the path. The stories of a malevolent spirit, a watcher in the window, intrigued him more than they frightened him. They say the ghost of the mansion's last owner still lingers. Old Mrs. Blackwood had whispered to him once, her eyes wide with caution. A reclusive man he was, driven mad by grief. Beware his watchful gaze, for he seeks a companion in his eternal solitude. The words echoed in Thomas's mind as he found himself standing there once more, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced eerily in the dim light. His heartbeat quickened with excitement and trepidation. Ignoring the warnings echoing in his head, he pushed the gate open, its rusty hinges squealing in protest. The path to the mansion was lined with twisted trees whose gnarled branches reached out like skeletal fingers, as if trying to grab those foolish enough to cross. Thomas took a deep breath and pressed forward, each step feeling heavier than the last. As he neared the mansion, the wind picked up, howling through the trees as if trying to dissuade him from his quest. His heart racing, Thomas climbed the stone steps to the sturdy oak doors. At first, they refused to budge under his weight, but finally, with a strained groan, they gave way, opening into a vast, darkened hall. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the faint beams of moonlight seeping through the boarded-up windows. The air was thick with the musty odor of neglect. Silence enveloped him, a suffocating silence punctuated by the occasional drip of water somewhere deep within the mansion. Undeterred, Thomas began to explore. The mansion seemed endless, each creaking door revealing rooms frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture lay scattered about, remnants of a life once lived. Then, as he entered what appeared to be a study, something caught his eye. A chill ran down his spine as he beheld an ornate mirror hanging on the wall. His reflection appeared different, almost altered, as if the Thomas in the glass was not him at all. He blinked, uneasy. Shrugging off the feeling, he moved closer to inspect the room. Papers and books lay strewn across a massive wooden desk, untouched and forgotten. One book, slightly ajar, caught his attention. Its title was faded, but the few legible words piqued his curiosity. "The Secret of the Watcher's Gaze," it read. As his fingers grazed the cover, a sudden sound interrupted the silence. A distant, haunting song played on the piano. It beckoned to him, its melancholic tune echoing through the hallways. Heart pounding, Thomas turned towards the source of the music, drawn to its eerie call. He found himself in the music room, where a grand piano sat in the corner, its keys moving of their own accord. The music enveloped him, drowning the growing sense of dread that clawed at his mind. But then, as suddenly as it began, the music stopped, leaving a void of silence more horrifying than the sound had been. His breaths came in shallow gasps, and he realized he was not alone. In the reflection of the piano's glossy surface, he saw it. A shadowy figure stood by the window, watching him with intense, soulless eyes. Panic surged through him as he backed away, knocking over a chair in his haste. The figure moved, gliding towards him without a sound, determined and resolute. Thomas turned and fled, the sense of unseen eyes tracking him as he raced through the darkened corridors. The mansion seemed to close in around him, each hallway identical to the last, twisting and turning in an unending loop. Desperate, he stumbled into the entrance hall, the doors within reach. As he pushed them open, a fierce gust of wind met him, cold and biting, as if the mansion itself were trying to imprison him. He fought against it, using every ounce of strength until finally, the wind relented. He burst out into the open, running until the mansion was a mere silhouette against the night sky behind him. Out of breath and trembling, he dared to look back. The mansion loomed, silent and foreboding, but the watcher was gone. Only a single window glimmered faintly in the moonlight, like a solitary eye keeping vigil over the village. Nobody believed Thomas when he recounted his tale, dismissing it as a fanciful child's imagination. Yet all he could do was grasp the reality of it in his heart, the memory of those cold, watching eyes forever etched into his soul. From that day on, Thomas never dared approach the mansion again. But some nights, when the wind whispered through the trees, he would swear he could hear the echoes of distant piano notes resonating in the dark, calling out, inviting him back.